Yo, thank you for clicking on the video. I'm Who's Mans. I just like football. I'm here to teach you the X's and O's of the game. I'm not here to teach you the glitches and the exploits and things like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. If you guys are new, go ahead, hit the subscribe button and the bell so you never miss an upload. And let's get into it.
Can't let nobody in your house, man. Pass protection is probably the most important thing in the game of football, behind having a good quarterback, of course. But we're going to go over some what not to do's and what to do's. You guys got to do as I say and not as I do. In this first example, I make a mistake. Now, I'm going to throw in a clip of me explaining defensive fronts and how that can help you with your pass protection. So let me do that now. It's really important you understand the defensive players on the D-line and their techniques. Certain players just are better suited for certain techniques. You have your 3 technique, your 5 technique, 0 tech, your 5 and 9s. It really depends on what defense you're running, and also this comes in handy when you're coming into block and you're setting up your pass protection, because then you'll understand who is where and why. So definitely screenshot this, do whatever you got to do, take your notes, and then let's get back to the video. All right, so now that you understand that was an odd front, you have a 0 tech, and then you also have 2 4 techs. Sometimes it can be 4 eyes, which would be shaded inside. Now when it comes to this, you know that your edge guys are still really dominant pass rushers, so you need to make sure that they are blocked. You would prefer to have your tackles block defensive linemen. With that being said, setting up my protection this way was not the best. If anything, it would probably benefit to not slide and instead put my running back in a check release and ID the Mike, who is a little outside of the left tackle there, and let him pick him up just in case if he comes in. I would want my big guys to block my big guys, so you would want more of a man blocking scheme, a 5-0 scheme there, and then let your running back take them. If not, the check release will then go out into the flat. But since I'm running the mesh, I understand that I'm reading right to left. The left side is my last resort, so that's why I can sacrifice using the running back as a blocker instead of a player going out into the field. A lot of guys think that they need to always have 5 going out, and that's not always the case. If you want to have a very good protection and you want to do the best, sometimes you do have to keep a player in, whether that be your running back, whether that be your tight end. In this case, my running back is probably the least threatening receiving option on the field, so definitely sometimes it'll benefit you to send out only 4. Because I do not understand the pass protection here, it really hurries up a lot of throws and results in plays like this. Double mug is a super popular formation defensively because it's easy to disguise who's coming and who's not. And you're going to see here, I make the same mistake as the last clip where I want to send all 5 out. In this situation, same deal. You would probably want to keep your back in and block. Now, double mug is a bit different. You can set it up differently if you have an edge rusher that you're not really afraid of, and you believe that your running back could take him on and at least hold up that block long enough to get the pass off. You can definitely ID him and let your running back take him. However, how I've seen it most of the time, they will let the running back take the middle linebacker closest to his side, because it's just a bit easier for a running back to take on a linebacker as opposed to a defensive end. So in this instance, what I could have done is blocked the same way, but have my running back take that middle linebacker there. That way my tackles are taking edge guys, and I know that my guards are going to be blocking big guys. At least my center will take one linebacker, and that makes it a lot easier on my offensive line and gives me a bit more time to get the ball off. Instead, I don't, and you see an edge guy get right in there. And my bad, I keep saying edge guys, but this is a better example of 5-0 protection where I don't slide. I just allow my offense to play man on man, big on big. And now you see the 9 techs there are being taken care of by the tackles. The only difference I would have made is check release my running back. I don't do that, but it still works out. He keeps sending this exact same cover 3 blitz. So all I have to do is make the proper read. And, you know, I've gone over the mesh before, but I see the nickel go inside, so we're going outside, and it makes this play a lot easier. It's always pretty important, I think, to understand when to check release and when to block in this situation. I know he's either sending 5 or 6. I know I can block the 5 with my offensive line. If he sends a 6th, it would be with my running back. So I like to check release in this situation, mainly because if he does something like this where he sends a bunch of people into coverage after blitzing a lot, I still have 5 players in coverage. And I also understand that I have good protection up front. I can wait and get my time to throw the ball if needed. I don't have a mobile quarterback, so I can just sit back here and make sure I make the proper read. Great thing about the air raid, in my opinion, is that no matter what, I understand where to look and where players should be open. And you're going to see I make a nice play right here. But I think it is important to make sure you understand when to check release and when to block. Like I said, in this situation, the numbers worked in my favor, especially with the odd front, and I just wanted to check release the running back just in case for these situations. All right, so now we're facing an even front. That's two techniques and 2-6 techniques. And you can see here with how he's moving his players, it looks like he's trying to potentially set up an overload away from the back. I wanted to set up myself to be able to block that, but also have a hot read. My hot read is my running back. He's going directly to the flat in a flood concept. I know if he sends an overload blitz away from the back, I should be good. But if he also sends an overload blitz to the side of the running back, my running back is my hot read. I would just have to go off of that. So that means if the middle linebacker, or the linebacker that has the M over his head, which I've labeled the Mike, if he decides to blitz, I know that I'm going to be able to throw to the running back because I only have 2 wide receivers out to the right, and that would be a safety and a cornerback on that side. So he would be out leveraged taking anyone there. So I would have to just go off of that. And I know on the backside I'm good because the center is going to take that 2 technique and everyone's just going to slide down 1. So if he does send the nickel or that inside linebacker to the left, we should be good to go. So you're going to see that he actually doesn't send anyone, and I'm forced to move the pocket because of the way the flow of the defensive line is. It's moving to the left side, and that linebacker backs out. So now I know that I can sit there and wait. Now I could have slowed down a bit before I threw the ball, but I just wanted to make sure I didn't get tackled. Short of the long is understand basically your opponent's tendencies. What do they like to do? Where are these players at on the defensive line? How many defensive tackles do they have? How many defensive ends do they have? What formations are they coming out in? And it really helps you understand who you should identify as the Mike, where you should slide, things like that. Understand there are going to be situations where your opponent calls just a perfect blitz. They call the perfect play that just does what they want you to do. So things like this where you have a linebacker stunting and going around the defensive line and hitting a gap on the opposite side from where he was. Some of these things are just going to happen. That's real life. That's real football. You're going to have a quarterback that just has an inaccurate throw every so often. I really want to make sure that a lot of the people that watch my videos understand that if you think you should do something, it should happen. That's just not life. Just because you think you should, complete 100% of your passes, if they're wide open, it's just not going to happen. Players drop the ball. You're going to make mistakes. The players are going to make mistakes sometimes. It's just going to happen. So stuff like this doesn't bother me too much. It bothers me in the moment, but don't let it get you down too much. You're going to make those plays like that. But then if you stay composed and you stay poised, you're going to be able to make those throws. You're going to be able to get those big plays off sometimes. So definitely, like I said, make sure you understand your pass protection, your hot reads, and mess around with throwing a check release in there. If they don't blitz, they'll go out. If there's nobody to block, they'll go out. And last but not least, try not to stand in the pocket too long. I say too long as in I kind of have a 3-second clock in my head because I've, used the air raid long enough to kind of understand, okay, if I'm not getting the ball out in 3 seconds, I'm waiting too long. From there, I try to make a play. I'll, look at the offensive line and see, okay, well, who's blitzing, who's going where's my opportunities to get outside of the pocket. If I get outside of the pocket and something opens up, then I'll throw it. But for the most part, after that point, I'm trying to get, some yardage, some yardage and just live for another down. Try not to just force passes all the time. But thank you for watching. This is a longer video. If you have any prayer requests, throw them in the comment section below. I'll see you next time. Peace.